everyone. Welcome to Triple T Thursday. That is Tips, Tricks, Talk, Tutorials. I'm so glad to be chatting with y'all. I have so much to chat with you about. I'm going to get my handy dandy Post-its here because I will forget because I am forever a squirrel brain that way about it. So there's a few things we want to talk about here. One, this one, then two, it's going to be this one. And then 3 is going to be this one. And then 4 is, wow, 4 topics. Who is she? Who is she? All right. And while I do this, why don't we play the ever important game / question that is, what's in your cup today? People, let me know what's in your cup. I think Pixel P is probably coffee. Dutch Can Jam, probably water. If Adam's Exploits is here, it's probably Poland Springs water. Let's see how it goes. Today, I've got the huge. We've got Awake English breakfast tea along with some honey in the bottom. So, hello, Dutch Can Jam is here and Pixel P is here. Thank you. Thank you for being here, both of you. Thank you very much for being here. Now, I want to chat with y'all first. Oh, wait, we gotta do this in a few different things. One, let's talk some YouTube news. And that is going to be, have you guys seen youtube.com/podcast? They're doing like a continued push and into podcasting. And I'm like, interesting. Somebody is on Facebook, but it says Facebook user. That means you have to give permission to eCamp so I can see who your profile is. It's Jim T. Mullen. Hey, great to see you. I had to open up Facebook on my phone here so I can pull it up. But what is this? I've never seen this before. Gifted 5 Shelly Saves a Day memberships. I didn't even know you. And not only, I don't even think there's 5 people here. So apparently come over and I don't know how that works. Does it come up with something you should screen record and then you can run a tutorial on how you then gift a subscription to somebody else? That's very exciting. Jim T. Mullen is totally cool. I'll just have you know, it just comes up as, here, I'm going to put this one on. Facebook user. Hi. But anyways, Pixelpia, that's so generous of you. Thank you so much for doing that. Wow. I don't actually know what that looks like on your end and how you do that, choose to do that. I don't know, but I thank you. And I thank you. Hold on. Let's do the thing, right? Where we welcome. So, it's so mad because, it's mad because I'm on the beta program and not the regular. I wonder if it's going to let me switch. Let me see here. Let me see. Will it still do it? Let's see what happens. Here we go. Hold on to your ears, people. New member, go. Shut it up now. Woo! Hopefully you guys can hear that. There was one live stream, I think, I don't know if I told you, but like, I thought the music was going and it wasn't. And I felt like a dingus McGee because like, I'm just sitting there like boogieing and like, there was no music. There was no music at all. But today it's only coffee. Hey, I nailed it. So thank you so much. I think I can put that on screen. Hold on. Gifted 5 memberships. That's amazing. Thank you so much. How awesome is that? Oh shoot, I didn't want that. One second. I gotta figure out my life here, people. One second. Okay, there we go. And let's just do this. Now, a few things. YouTube and podcasting, right? We've known this is coming for a little bit. Some people are doing some of their podcasts and putting them on YouTube. What do we think about this? How are we feeling? Does anybody here put a little yes in the comments or so if you are listening to podcasts on YouTube? Some people do it on Spotify, some people do it on Apple Podcast or, other. Where do you listen to your podcasts? And do you ever listen to them on YouTube? There is a podcast that I listen to on YouTube, and that is the guy, Michael Rosenbaum, Inside of You. He used to play Lex Luthor on Smallville. I enjoy his video podcast. It's a good one. So let me know. Wait, Pixel. Oh, this is fantastic news. You said, I got my Descript solved halfway. They're still trying to figure it out. I can only record and find my mic with camera and or screen recording. I'm so glad that they're working with you. Yay. They just started. I don't know if you know this. I got a notice email today saying that Descript has also started a Discord. So if you're already in Discord and you want to be in Discord, they have a Discord as well. Hey, Side Hustle Shuffle, Jim T. Mullen in the house. Now I see a profile and a picture and all of that goodness. Look at you. All right, Dutch Can Jam says, sometimes I listen on YouTube, but mostly listen through Spotify. Yeah, and I like that Spotify has an integration with Anchor, and I believe they bought Anchor, and you can now, or I had access to it for a while, I think everyone might now, but I can take my video and I can then upload it to Anchor, and it would create a video podcast you could listen to on Spotify, or you could just listen to the audio part elsewhere, like on Apple Music and stuff. So I think that's kind of neat, and I feel like there's a lot of video podcasts that are really starting to make the rounds. And oh, hey everyone, it's Adam's Exploits. And did I or did I not call it with the Poland Springs water? You can rewind this stream. I totally called it, totally nailed that one. And let me see here. A few on YouTube, but mostly on Apple Podcasts, says James DeLong. And did I see Sammy was in here? Hey, Sammy. I heard that you had some issues with your YouTube channel, and then I also saw you streaming for your anniversary, but I popped in and I was there. But let's see. I had to use another computer to get your overdub to work. Interesting. Oh, that's a good question. Am I going to people of video? I wish I was. I am not. I was looking at plane tickets. It was going to be $1,000 round trip on top of the hotel, on top of the ticket. So I was like, oh gosh, and it was a little too much for me because I had just booked my Vid Summit, which is, technically the week before or the week after. So I'm super bummed because I found out that there are going to be some really good speakers there. So Dan did a great job. I wish I was going, but I think all of the eCam crew is going, right? Emily D. Baker, the badass that she is, she's going to be there. And then when she told me she was going and if I was going, I was like, oh my God, my heart is breaking because we would have so much time to hang out and chat. I love Emily, but no, so I won't be there. You joined the Descript Discord? Nice. Yeah. I wish I was going. Yeah. And Adam, yeah, I think you had said that you were pulling out of that one too. I knew you were planning on going too. I know there's some cool people that are planning on going. I really enjoyed that conference last year, so it would be nice to go, but unfortunately, no. All right. So interesting though to see the podcasting movement and the video podcasting and seeing what's happening, and I'm just curious to see how it goes. And yeah, it would have cost me just $1,000 for the flight. That was just the flight before hotel and before ticket cost. And I was like, oh gosh. Yeah. You listen to Emily D. Baker's podcast on YouTube? Yeah, that's a good one to listen to. Okay. Number 2. That's number 3. Well, we'll just switch it. I don't know if you guys saw this. I posted it on my YouTube community tab. Also, channel members, I'm mad at some of you because I had posted it in the Discord or maybe on the community tab too. I was like, hey, you guys want to do your members only live stream Tuesday, Wednesday? Anybody? Nobody. No, it was crickets. Nobody voted. So I was like, maybe it would just wait until we have more people or anybody respond. So yeah, because I want to set up our live stream so that we can chat and hang out and, talk to each other. So maybe some of y'all need to pick a day. I don't know. It's basically, I was saying pick a Tuesday or a Wednesday because let's do stuff. Because, I have dance practice on Monday nights, and then Thursday nights I also have some stuff like our live stream and stuff going on. So it was like Tuesday or Wednesday would be good. So let me know. All right. Okay. So I want to tell you guys, and I also put this in that I launched. It's a soft launch. It's a not early launch, but Dutch Can Jam, I appreciate it. I just read your feedback for it. I launched a website called contentminis.com. As Doc Rock from eCam would like to say, I'm launching what I call a side helpful. And this is where the talk about the podcast and stuff comes up as well, because envision this. And I think I've talked about this with y'all before, but I had been at VidFest/Podfest in Orlando, and I had, you guys remember, like I talked like 7 different chats, right? It was like 6 or 7 different presentations that I did. And 1 or 2 of them, I talked about the micro content repurposing type of strategy. You know, you guys, this is a broken record for the 5 of you, the true ones that have been here with me. And I'm always talking about, you know, like strip out the, you know, the Descript file and have a caption, and maybe create a quote post and create like an Instagram carousel of things if it was a listicle style video, or create like an audiogram, or create YouTube shorts. Remember the 20 shorts about YouTube shorts that all came from one live stream, or 36 individual videos that came from one musical live stream, right? I'm always like, take your content, repurpose it, that kind of stuff. And so when I was talking about this, like there's no reason that you shouldn't have content, especially if you're someone who's doing 3 or 4 hour live streams like a Nick Nimmin is, right? He's doing Q&As for a ton of time and so many question and answers and stuff. And I was like, there should be a service, you know, where it just basically cuts up a whole bunch of your video into usable bits for social media distribution on, you know, Instagram and TikTok and all the places, right? And then people started coming up to me and asking if this was a service that I offered or if I knew anyone who did it. And we were like, oh, no. And the best I could do was kind of recommend, you know, an acquaintance of ours that was at the conference, being like, hey, he has this company, he kind of does this. And, but it was also, his company is about video editing, like putting together all the finished pieces, you know? And I'm like, it's not quite the same. It's taking maybe your pieces and making a finished product. And I'm like, what I want to do is I want to take their finished product and just rip it apart into lots of little things. So that long video podcast, the long video, the live stream that you did, that kind of stuff. I want to rip out all of those pieces and then start to make content from that. Okay, so I'm going to come back, hold on, and read the chat because there's a lot of stuff going on, right? You don't like Anchor anymore, and Spotify takeover met lots of restrictions. Oh, no. It's local for you. Oh, okay. And, oh my gosh, 25 days in hospitals. Your sister, I'm so sorry. Started with blood clots. Sorry, I'm reading. I'm a little behind y'all. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear she's doing better. Not far from back to normal. Yeah, definitely sending you positive vibes. Adam's going through some stuff too. Yeah. Well, don't quite congratulate me yet because I haven't really launched anything. But I don't give myself enough credit, you know, for some things, and we've certainly had that talk before. But you know how sometimes a lot of us will pitter patter around and be like, oh, I have this idea, I want to do this thing, and we don't, and we just kind of hem and haw and be like, I don't know. And then sometimes we just got to be like, when I was talking about writing those emails, you know, for the other company, and like we hem and haw and we wait and we don't do things, and then at some point we finally like just start ugly and do it. It's the same with starting a YouTube channel. Your first few live streams, right? It's going to be kind of ugly, and then it's going to have to be shaped up and better over time. But if you never launch the thing, you can never get any better at it, right? And so I had been talking, you know, with some people and being like, yeah, this service needs to exist. And then I was just like, So I was thinking that I was going to create a website and do all this stuff. But then it turns out I had bought this AppSumo deal where it was like 2 lifetime WordPress hosted sites for life, right? One of them is ShellySavesAday.com. I moved it over there from a different domain provider and host and all that stuff. So I put it there. You guys, and then I had one extra because the AppSumo deal was for 2. So I had this extra one. I was like, oh, sweet. You know what I could do is I could launch this with, you know, with the Content Minis idea that I had, and I just bought this domain. I went to my login, host control, stuff like that. Turns out their servers went down, and it had been like a couple weeks. So my main website isn't even online right now. Love that for me. And the second one is down, so I can't like launch the website. So I was like, well, I'm like, what's the next best thing that I can do? What's the next best thing I can do? Thank you, buddy. Good shake. So I was like, oh, well, I buy all my domains through Google. And so I was like, okay, well, domains that are bought through Google, you can build a Google site for free and integrate it. And I was like, well, it's not perfect, but it's free, and it's included. So I spent most of yesterday creating the Google site. So what you see on contentminis.com is it's a Google site. And I know it's not impressive. It doesn't look like much. And I'm not a designer and stuff like that. But just the fact that I had that site go live at all is still something, right? And then I put it online, and I was like, hey, friends, like, give me some feedback. Like, what do we think? And I got some really good feedback. Like, my friend Mario Ficini on Facebook said, hey, I think that if you're going to have this, then you need to have, something. And so I was like, sweet. So I put that in there. And then my friend Jeff Barch from Story Greenlight, which I just did that podcast episode, the video podcast one that came out not that long ago. And he's like, oh, one, you should list a referral program, and you should have like just a consultation with you anyway that's available. And for people who aren't quite sure, or they don't know which of the platforms to prioritize in the content restructuring and stuff. And I was like, okay, so I'll need to add that in too. But so I'm getting some great feedback. And so, Dave, I was also going to approach some of yours. You were saying like, hey, it's a little abrupt. And the thing is that the thing at the bottom, like how to like hire us or something like that. One, I'm not really expecting anyone to like necessarily hire us out of the blue without sending us probably some sort of email and whatnot. And, but the reason that it looks like that is because Google Sites doesn't necessarily have a thing built in. And so I had to go to my PayPal account, try to create these like fake items or the variant of like the monthly versus the quarterly, and then create like this code block snippet that I put into the Google site embed section. And so I put that in there, and that's why it just looks like like in your face. It's just in a block at the bottom, and it's kind of like all there is. But I'm like, I wanted some way to at least, if by the random happenstance of Lady Luck, someone was like, yeah, this sounds good, let's do it. There was at least like a checkout. And even though I say like, we can do Venmo or PayPal or Stripe, I think right now the only thing you can do is PayPal. So I was like, if it's not listed, just contact us via email, and then we will have to like figure that out. Like, but here's the thing is, we can sit there and hem and haw about like having things be perfect, right? Like I can't launch my website until my servers are back up, or until, it looks correct, or like this, it looks really pretty, or it's embedded correctly and isn't abrupt and in your face, or doesn't have the things about, or I can just like be like, this is what it looks like, and I'm looking for some feedback, or, like I'm putting it out there, and the rest we're going to have to figure out as we go. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I just wanted to sometimes share that with you. Like sometimes it's not going to be perfect and it's not going to be beautiful, but you're still going to want to have to give it a shot sometimes anyway. And yeah, so I just, for a second, I'm just going to give myself a pat on the back. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Was that yesterday morning, I started with nothing, and I had a broken server, and I had no place to host this site. And by the end of the day or something, I had something that I could at least point people to. You know what I mean? Like I had at least something, even if it was butt ugly, even if it isn't converting yet, even if it isn't whatever, it's there, and like it's gangly looking, and maybe it's going to require a lot more finesse. But the point is, sometimes we just have to launch stuff, or, or jump out of the tree and then figure out how to fly on the way down. And this is a very low barrier to entry type of thing, right? Like if I put the website out there and nobody buys it, which is currently the case, I'm not in any worse of a position, but if on random happenstance someone does buy it, then great. And so, yeah, I mean, I have a Venmo. I have to figure out how to do the little embed Stripe or, thing for that too. And I have a Stripe account. So I can accept payments through those things. I just have to figure out how to get all of those things on the page or send it to someone who wants to be invoiced that way. So, right. But it's all stuff that I will figure out once it comes to that. Also, I was saying that like, the idea is to hopefully create kind of like an agency where I can have a team of editors follow a specific process that I create, right? And give them a repeatable process that they should be able to replicate over and over again for any client that's sent to them. But for the first 4 clients, they'll end up working with me because I have to figure out like, how do I want that to look? How do I want that to be represented? How do I communicate that things are finished, or I need something from the client, because I don't want to hire someone now while I don't have any clients, although that would be great to train them. Then I'd be paying for all of this and not yet, like, it would be directionless. Do you know what I mean? It would be like, we don't know if that stuff would work yet. So I think sometimes you just gotta like do it yourself until you figure out. And then I would bring in hopefully someone when I'm at client 3 or 4 so that we have some overlap and they see how I want it done or have it completed, and I have a better idea of what I want, and then I can give them instructions on what that looks like. Then we create a process for like, what happens if we have more than one editor, or what happens when you have different things or requirements, and and things as they usually do with scope creep. And what if someone does want a thumbnail, or what if someone does want added animations or B-roll or overlays? What does that look like, or how do you charge for that? Or so a lot of it in the beginning is like a very learning process. And I also run the comparison game of like, how much should this cost? How much would it cost? How much is a profit margin that is like desirable if you are going to bring in extra people? So all of this stuff is, even if I haven't quite figured it out yet, these are all good questions to be asking. And I'm sharing this journey with y'all because I think, it's like, I'm trying to encourage everyone to become more money-minded and in finding ways to be able to, make money in this creator economy and whatever that looks like for you. But sometimes, like, I don't know, I may have to make the mistakes first to talk to you about it. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing that journey with you, and hopefully we got some good stuff in the future happening, right? Are you going to hire someone or use Fiverr or another site? It depends. One, I don't even know if I'll have enough clients to necessitate needing to bring someone on, right? And then there's a whole thing, and I've been talking with several people behind the scenes, like who have editors or who have done editing services within the companies that they own. Like, how are you doing this, and how are you paying people, and what's bonus structures look like, and how do you maintain quality if you're not looking at it, and like, do you use frame? Like, I'm trying to figure out all these things because I don't know all the answers just yet. So is it possible that I could find someone on Fiverr? Yeah. Is it possible that if I partner with someone, they already have editors who can take on some of the work right now under whatever they're already paying them? Maybe. And are there other sites that I'm looking into? Yes. But a lot of them you have to pay to be on. And I don't yet have, it wouldn't be fair to bring someone in yet when I don't know exactly what I want or the process that I want them to follow. So I need to have the first couple of clients first to understand, how long do I think it might take if I'm running it through Descript and pulling out audiograms and creating quote clips and stuff like that. But I definitely ran the comparison game as well for, is this charging too much? Is this charging too little? Because the other company that I was looking at, they charge quite a bit more, but ours is a more specialized service with a smaller, I think, list of people who might be interested in it, which may or may not be a good thing. But also, when you kind of like break it out, because it seems like a big lump sum, because what I'm asking is it's $500 per client, and they get a fractional editor, which means it's 2 hours a day. Each editor would have no more than 4 total clients, which would be an 8-hour day, which would be, right? So 2 hours each, up to 4, that would be 8 hours or so. So if you think about it, 2 hours times the 5 weekdays, because it would be a Monday through Friday type of thing, is 10 hours or at least 40 hours a week, because most calendar months are going to have at least 4 weeks in it. Some have 5, but you still pay the same flat monthly fee. And so it's it's $500 for usually a minimum of 40 hours, which when you break it out is still like $12 or $13 an hour, which is pretty darn cheap. I would think most people would think, if you break it out that way. I don't know. And I also have this feeling that it might be something where it starts at $500 for the first 4. And then if I have to bring in more people, then like they may have to pay like more. The price would probably go up once I kind of like get my feet under me and figure it out. Like I'm thinking these are people like Nick Nimmin or Roberto Blake who do the really long streams, right? Or someone who has like a really long video podcast. Think like, I'm not saying him, but like a Joe Rogan style where you see tons of like clips from those shows or something like that. So that's kind of where my head's at, but I don't know. Pixelpia says, I'm making money from my podcast. You made $5 on Buy Me a Coffee and $4 from a merch sale and 26 cents from running ads. I've made no money ever from my podcast. So you've got me beat by quite a bit. So you made like $10. I've made $0. So good on ya. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. And yeah, it's absolutely start. Adam's Exploits. Thank you for celebrating Pixelpia. I love that. Don't quit your day job just yet. Let's not forget, man, an extra $10 or something a month. It's eventually going to add up. That's actually about what I make, $9 or $10 a month right now from Amazon affiliates, not the, Amazon associates. That's what I make. Sometimes I don't even get paid the $10 because you do have to make $10 a month to be paid out. So sometimes I make $9. So I think I make $9 right now for Amazon affiliates. So you're making good money, right? So there's that. Mr. Camera Junkie, sorry. I'm a freelance editor building up my clientele. Mr. Camera Junkie, I had heard that you were a freelance editor. I love that. And I love that you're using your skills and you're able to stay home, right? With your miracle boy and be able to bring in more money. And yeah, I love that. I love that for you. I was very pointed in one thing is, you know how much I love repurposing content and what I really didn't want to do. It's tough to be a video editor for someone else because there's always a difference in artistic vision, right? The way that your color grading is, it's preference, right? A lot of it is preference. Some people like the pastel look. Some people like that overly saturated 80s bubblegum pink. You know what I'm talking about? Early 2000, Laura DIY and Alicia Marie and Remy Ashton vlogs. And some people really like that washed out pastel look, like Lavender and Pastel Please and all of that. And then some other people like have a very blue and dark or moody aesthetic, So even that, just alone color preference versus, transitions that people like, sound that people like, animations and overlays that people like. I did not want to be in that game where I am like going back and forth with people because they didn't like the right B-roll clip that I selected, right? Like that was never going to be my happy place. Like because the last thing I want to do is like go back and then rework something that I was already working on. That just like, no, thank you. That's not efficient. And so for me, I was like, I want your finished product. I don't want to be the person putting the finishing bells and whistles on it. Like I will take the 1-minute snippet and I will throw it in a frame square and put on some captions and I will, fine. But I am not about to make the artistic choices because I don't want to be pissed off when I give you this thing. I'm like, do you like it? And then for you to be like, can we just change these 8 to 10 things? And I'm like, no. I don't want that. So I was very pointed about, I don't want to become an editor for others who have very specific opinions about what they want their content to look like and also have no roadmap for process about, it's like the person who's like, I want the cinematic look. Like, what the heck does that mean? What does that mean? Because it means completely different things from someone to someone else, right? You say contemporary or modern or whatever else it is. It could just be a disaster when you have all of these different opinions on what it should be. But if the finished file is there, this is what they said they want, right? And then I'm just chopping up bits of it like a little car shop. I feel like that's my jam. All right. Okay, now James DeLong, sorry. He said, question, did this idea come up because this would be scratching your own itch first? I don't know. It would be scratching my itch if I was hiring the people to cut up my content. But technically right now what I'm doing is cutting up other people's content. So it's not scratching my itch. But it's definitely something that, you know, I have done with my own channel. I think if you guys have seen it, you go to my TikTok, there's like 36 videos of me in a row wearing the same shirt. It's just 36 snippets or outtakes of a different musical song that I sang during a 3-hour live stream. And like, that's the whole point, is I want to be able to give someone like, here's 36 finished files so you can have something to post every day for a month after you do a live stream, and you can feel like you're putting out content every day, right? Like, I want people, you know how we're always so stressed about putting more content out and being every place and all that stuff, but it's like, I just did this live stream. I don't want to go through it. I don't want to cut it. I don't want to, you know, create all these things, which all the people say I should do, right? The whole reason I live streamed is so I didn't have to edit and put it together later. So I just want to be that relief to the person who, you know, is like, oh my God, just take this thing and create lots of babies with it, right? Just let it multiply. And that's kind of where I want to be. Like, I just want to give people less of a headache and less stress and hyperventilating when they think I have to put out so much content. But I don't want to, or I don't want to have to like do this, or, you know, it's time consuming. So I think that that's kind of where that lays. So Pixel PS says, I'm okay for it now. We'll still book a consultation with you. Oh, yes. Yes, let's talk about it. And me too. You're okay with it? Or me too, you're agreeing with something else I said. Sorry, I'm not sure. But must wait a bit until... Yeah, no worries at all. Okay, so we were talking about that. And so content minis, you can follow along on the journey. I did, be proud of me though. I created a Twitter account and content minis was available, amazingly. I created an Instagram account, content minis is available. I'm just snapping up some of these properties, even though I have no intention of using them or posting. I just want to make sure that I have them. Snapped up the URL, created the Google site, and y'all be the first ones to know, trust me, if I end up getting a client. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun to celebrate together? Yes, it would be, right? And everyone would be like, that was the wrong button, but this one. Let's hope they're not laughing. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, see, now the giggle makes sense. Okay. So we have that going on. Then there's something I want to talk to y'all about. There's two things I want to talk to you about. And I am a little like, oh, yeah, you want to stay home with Aiden. Yeah. It's just friends here. So let's talk about this. One thing that I want to talk with y'all about is trusting your gut and intuition. What do I mean by that? Y'all know it. You have that feeling when you're like, this seems like a good idea, this seems like not a good idea, or I feel like I should do this, or all that kind of stuff, right? And there's a lot of like stuff that we say to ourselves about why we can't do things, why other people are better at things than us, why we're never going to get where we want to go, and aren't we jealous about these other people, you know, or haters or whatever, that other people have these things, and how come? Because they don't work as hard, blah, 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 all this different stuff. But what do you do, and listen, when you maybe are presented with opportunities to do something, and maybe at their surface you're like, you know, maybe this sounds like a good idea, and then you start investigating and digging a little deeper, and then you're like, by saying yes to this, it means that I'm going to be saying no to other things, right? And is that sacrifice worth it to me? Maybe not. And how do you actually kind of determine that? And so I just wanted to have that conversation with y'all, because not everything, when you see it coming down the pike, you're like, oh, this seems like a great idea. And we're prepped and primed to like jump at it and be like, yeah, this is exactly what I needed. Or I said I needed this. And oh, did I manifest this? Maybe you did. Maybe, I don't know. But what if it's not as great as something that could be greater? If you know what I mean. And this is where we start to get into shiny object syndrome, right? And I think someone else posted in the comments earlier, which we are all prone to. I'm definitely prone to it. And we think, oh, this could be the thing, or this could be a placeholder, or this could be the thing that I do that gets me closer to what I want. But is it actually getting you closer to what you want, or is it just actually a deterrent? It's a new shiny object. And you really needed to have a real conversation with yourself about how it probably isn't getting you closer to what you really want. Does any of this make any sense to anybody? I'm talking in very vague terms, right? And you think, oh, here's this job that I think could be a really cool job. And then you're like, oh, this opportunity that could be a really cool thing. And then you look into it a little, and then you're like, do I say yes? Do I not say yes? Because if I say yes to this, it means I have to say no to other things. And so then it's like, is this and what it's presented at going to be getting me closer to actually what I want, or is it just a deterrent and it just looks good right now, but it's actually just a band-aid on a whole bigger problem that I'm just going to be dissatisfied with later on? Because I've definitely taken jobs in the past where it was like, it felt like it was going to be right as a choice. And sometimes, you know right away, and sometimes it takes a few months and you're like, I'm getting this inkling. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I don't like this. And this has happened to me where, I left a job and I got another job because I thought it was going to be what I wanted. And then you get there and you find out that, what you're looking through is rose-colored glasses. And then when you get there and you're like, this is not at all what I thought. This is not the promised land. This is not even the picture that was in the magazine. This is not the picture that's on the menu above the hamburger. This is like, it's looking a little wonky. But then you're like, did I burn my bridge? Did I go too far? Why did I do this when I could have just stayed where I was, right? So do we look at those as opportunities, as we've learned, we've grown, we've taken chances? And is it better to learn things that you don't want in life by experiencing them? Or is it better to sit back, take no action, and then yearn for things and then feel like you've just missed out on things all the time? So on one hand, you've got the I never take any action and I just dream about all these things that could be. On the other is I take action and I either know immediately or not immediately that this was not the right move for me. Put an emoji in the chat if anybody has any relation to what I am saying right now, because I don't want to feel like I'm talking into the void. So please just stick with me on this one and be like, definitely been there. I feel that. I feel you. I'm with you. Any of that. And how do you actually wade through the decision matrix that you have about if this thing is right for you, if it's wrong for you, and how will you know the difference? Yeah. Sometimes like taking a chance on something but not knowing what's coming down the pipeline. Yeah, that's a good. Pixelp says, I'm going to change my content on YouTube a bit. I love doing tutorials about the Google apps, but looking on YouTube, most of these are for businesses, productivity, or education. So, ellipses. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for your support. I appreciate you. Thank you, Louise, for the thumbs up. I appreciate you. Even when I'm talking in riddles and circles, y'all are here with me. I love that. Okay. So I just want to say that sometimes you can trust your gut. And then I say on the flip side, sometimes you don't want to listen to your gut because really it's just full of poop. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, making that decision is sometimes a difficult one. So when you have to weigh the pros and cons of any of the situations that you're in, or weigh out what happens if I say yes, or what happens if I say no to this, are sometimes interesting. And sometimes I feel like a lot of us get into situations we don't really want to be in because we don't say no often enough, or we say yes when we really don't mean yes, or we say yes when we don't want to offend anyone, don't want to hurt anyone. We're just kind of like unsure. And so it's really easy to sometimes find yourselves in situations where like, oh, I shouldn't have said yes to that, versus being like very resolute on, you remember that story about the executive assistant who absolutely would not let her boss be swayed or be bought to go to any single presentation that had nothing to do with what his goal and focus was, right? And people are like, you won't even put me through. And she's like, absolutely right. I won't put you through because you're not on his list of priorities of things that he says he wants to accomplish, and I'm trying to keep him on track. So sometimes maybe you need someone to keep you on track, whether it's an accountability group, a friend, a coach, a mentor, someone to be like, hey, you're getting shiny object syndrome, you're squirreling a bit, you're launching this new website, you're doing the thing when you told me what you want to do is launch a course. What are you doing? Let's bring it back in. Let's bumper lane it back. Let's get back on track, you know? So I don't know. Maybe sometimes we have to be that for each other. And you have to recognize that we need that. So there's another thing that I want to chat with y'all about. And this is kind of interesting. A last second addition. I am going to be making another trip down to California, I believe. I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about, or do when it comes to this, because this just happened like a few hours ago. So nothing is like, the plans aren't set in stone yet. I don't know what days. I don't know how many, like, I don't know the details yet, but I'm excited for something that's coming that I hopefully can talk to y'all about it soon-ish. Oh my gosh, is that totally the YouTuber thing, right? I've been working on this thing behind the scenes and I can't wait to talk to y'all about it and you're gonna love it, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, I just had that moment, except I don't have anything to sell you. I don't know, man. I don't know how much I can say, but I am excited for this kind of thing, this opportunity that's coming up. And every once in a while, when you have a moment like this, I think y'all know, like, sometimes it's really, really tough. Like, I've been on YouTube a really long time. I see a lot of my peers around me. They've surpassed me in subscriber counts, view counts, money in their own businesses, in, you know, popularity, whatever, just like speaking gigs that they get, talking, in engagement, like everything that you can think of, right? In every discernible way, when you start to measure, you find yourself like just less than, right? And I've been pretty open with y'all about that. And it definitely does some stuff to your own self-esteem. And every time you look around, you're like, oh, there's that person, my friend, my buddy. And it's not that you're not happy for them, but it's like, there they are with more accolades, and there they are with a brand new car, and there they are with their new 6-figure launch, and there they are with a whatever. And I have an iMovie course that like 50 people have bought, and I can't get anyone to purchase it, or I can't, you know what I mean? So as an aside and a background story, I have a friend who is in an accountability group with me, and I was telling them at the last one of our meetings a couple weeks ago, I was just like, guys, I just don't know. Like, I don't even know sometimes what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to be on YouTube? Am I supposed to give up? Am I supposed to, like, I just don't know, because like, here I am, and I can help anyone make money but myself. I have a product, no one buys it. I have coaching and consultations, and sometimes every once in a while, every few months, someone buys something, or, it's like feast or famine, but it's mainly just famine. And I'm just like, it's so disheartening sometimes. And I was having a discussion today with someone else about it, and I'm like, it's disheartening when you really try, and you really try and learn and educate yourself, and you're watching all the things, and you're reading all the books, and you're trying to put things in practice, and you're trying to give good advice, and you're trying to be there and care for people about their success. And but every once in a while too, you're like, and when is it also my turn for some of this to go well, right? Like, when do I launch something and like a lot of people buy it? When do I get to come to, and not to be all woe is me, but just let me have my moment here. We're going someplace with this. You know, when do I get to have my moment where I'm like, dude, I did a launch that made some good money? Because I've never had that. I've had like everything that's just not quite half-assed, but just like never fully like performed to what you wanted / expected / projected. And so it's just been thing after thing of, it's another learning experience. And I'm like, I've learned a lot. It'd be great to learn how to make some money. And so I was saying in this accountability group, like, I just never make any money. And I think that probably it's causing additional tension in even my relationships with, my own husband, to be like, how much money am I bringing in? What can I contribute to the bills? What can I, do? Or are we having to cut back? Or are we thinking about, things that are coming up in the future that cost a lot of money? The fact that I can't, think about changing cars ever, or like anytime soon, because we just can't bring on additional debt. Or, and so I was like, you guys, I don't know what I do. I don't know if I just go back to, trying to get a job at one of these big companies. But like, I don't even know if I can right now because most of them are under hiring freezes. And I got to find a way to make some money. And because Amazon is now, like, it's not going super well. In fact, this month is the worst month I've ever had on Amazon. There's been some drama, not with me, but just in general, if you're in any of the groups, where video product placements are not being shown as much. I think they're running some experiments. A lot of people who are live streaming weren't making as much money. And so it's probably literally half of what I was making. And it wasn't even, that was my main source of income. So it's just like dried up to like half. And I was like talking to the group, I was like, I just don't know what I'm going to do. And so one of them who's really skilled in YouTube ads, he's like, well, you have a product. Maybe we spend some money on an ad and maybe see if we can get you some enrollments. Do you want to spend a little money on this? And I'm like, do you want to spend money that you don't have on this to try and get some enrollments? And I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's better than trying to find a new way to make money. It's at least leveraging something that I've already created, I already have, and I know is a quality product. So yeah, maybe. So we started doing preparations for it, and I even shot like a little ad, as you will, and we started running some ads, and it's not like none of this is on him. Like, he's doing a great job on, like, here are the clicks and here's who we're targeting, but the thing is, like, we're getting some views on the video, but we're not getting anyone to like buy the course. And so now we're also like, let's probably revamp, do a new ad, create a new video, blah, 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 all this stuff. But it's also a little demoralizing as you're watching all of this happen and you're like, dude, I've had hundreds of views on this video and none of them are converting. I've had, millions of views on my YouTube channel about a certain subject and no one is buying this thing that I offer, which I know is good. And I'm like, are we just barking up a dead tree? Are we saying, like, no one's looking for this? No one wants it? Like, nobody, like, maybe it just wasn't tested in the market long enough to be like, this is something that people are actually looking for. And he's like, well, I don't think you want to give up just yet. Let's try a new, asset, which means new video. And, let's try that and see how it goes. And, but I will let you guys know that it was like just demoralizing to be like, hey, even this thing, if we try and throw some money at it, at this thing that you did create, that's good. And like, even that's not bringing in money. So then at what point, and this meeting happened today, right before this live stream, I'm looking at it. He's like, don't give up yet. It's early. And I'm just like, maybe it's just not going to happen for me. And at what point do you just kind of be like, okay, like, we're done here. Like, we are done here. I don't know, man. Cause like everyone has to kind of like draw that line for themselves. But I'll just say, like, it's been a rough time just trying to put out content and trying to, just continue on being like, go make money and go blah, 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 and go do all this stuff when, like, I can't do it. So it's like, am I a fraud for trying to tell people how to do all these things that I can't do for myself? I don't know. So who knows? I'm just having my own monthly mental breakdown, and I'm trying to also remember to trust my own gut that it's hard for a lot of people right now. Like Pixelpia, you're going through some hard stuff, and Adam's Exploits, you're going through some hard stuff. Like, all of us are going through hard things right now. Like, there's no doubt about that. And I just want to come back to, remember a few weeks ago when I was talking about this whole glitz and glamour and everything you see online and how you think that everyone has their life like put together. And even, I don't know, was it 2 weeks ago when I was saying, like, people could be looking at my YouTube channel and being like, she's got stuff figured out. And I'm like, no, Susie, like, I put out a video this week about, making more money through affiliate links, and like, I didn't even break 100 views on it yet. And that is like discouraging AF, right? I'm trying to teach people how to make more money, and people were like, no thanks. And I was just kind of like, I don't even know like what I could make that you would want to watch right now, because even things that I put out, nobody wants to watch them. So this is not a whole woe is me session, but I'm just having you guys know that everybody goes through this stuff, and it's a hard time for a lot of people right now. So we all got to be kind to each other, right? Okay. Dutch Can Jam says, I was just going to say that, yes, trust your gut, think about the situation, idea, and opportunity, write out pros and cons, and get the idea on paper to see it. Yep. Adam's Exploit says, are you getting any referrals from the work you did with Roger? No. I also don't tell a lot of people. I mean, I told y'all, kind of like, because we missed the stream that week, and he already came on, and y'all heard him say, like, you're getting you down to Texas. So, but other than that, like, I don't tell people. And that is probably a bad thing. I just don't want to come off as too braggadocious or anything like that. I also feel heavily invested if I work with someone, and whether they do or do not have success, I'm trying to disassociate and detach myself from feeling like it is because of me or it's my fault or different stuff, right? Because if they don't perform, or do well or do better, then it's like, oh, maybe I give bad advice. Or if they don't, you know what I mean? Like it's a difficult place to sometimes be in, because I don't want to go out there and just be like, I worked with this person. They already had a lot of stuff going on in their favor, so I can't claim responsibility for any of it. It's just, yes, somebody that I worked with, and it's just difficult. You know what I mean? Like, I never found myself to come out and be like, I'm the person who, helped with this, or and before, some of the places or that I worked with, or as a coach, we weren't allowed to say that we technically worked with people, because we were very much kind of like a secret, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, we weren't allowed to say that it was us working with these people, that we were responsible in any way for their success, because we're not supposed to be. It's supposed to be team whatever, and the success is reflected on the person whose name is on the course, not the people who were helping as the coaches. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. When are we going to eliminate Susie? Never. Susie's the arch nemesis forever. I should have Roger write a testimony, and I'm sure he'd do it. And that's the thing, is I wouldn't ask it of him. I did a while back. I had some people write like a little testimonial blurb, and I put it on some page. I think I put it on like Instagram or something. But I feel icky about that. And I was having a discussion with someone today, and she's very sweet and very business-minded. And she said, I think one of the problems with you, and I'm like, yes, one of the problems. Yes, got it. She's like, is that you don't talk about a lot of these successes, or talk about, you don't sell yourself. And I was like, oh, absolutely true. Like, I can tell you from when I was a real estate agent, anything, like if someone works with me, like I'll give it my all, like absolutely. But I don't want to go out there and like sell myself to get new clients. That's just never been me. I don't want to be like, hey, everyone, buy the course. Hey, everyone, do this thing. Pay me, blah, blah, blah. And she's saying, well, I think one of the things is like a lot of the people that are in the industry or that get a lot of money, it's because they have so much overconfidence in themselves that all you do is see them on their Instagram stories and in their YouTube videos talking about their clients, their success, their blah, blah, blahs, their whatever. Like, they're stamping themselves all over the place, and they're sharing it out there and then telling people, here's my social proof, come work with me. Here's my social proof. Like, aren't I so great? And she's like, you don't really do that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. And she's like, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why you're having a hard time, is because you don't ever. And we've talked about this before. When I first released iMovie Made Easy, I said it once in a video a year ago. That should be good, right? During a live stream with no one watching. You can't be surprised if people don't buy your stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a tough place to be in, to be like, I know that I have to keep talking myself up and talking about all these accomplishments and testimonials and all these things to try and get people to understand that they should buy something or feel confident in doing it. But I just have never wanted to do that, So, and then you wonder why no one will buy what you're selling. You are not selling, you just create a product. Yeah, I created the product, but I don't sell it. And that's the whole big thing, is exactly. Because I don't want to, remember when I had talked to you guys about this before, and I was like, oh, at least if I have the play the little animation or something that like, I don't have to say it. I can just be like, here you go. Right. And I could just like hit the button a few times during the stream or something like that, but I don't. And I'm supposed to say like stuff like this. I'm like, oh, you're supposed to do this thing. And you're supposed to also follow me all the place. Like, I've just never wanted to do that. I've just never wanted to be like, follow me, do all the things, blah, blah, blah. But also then I get mad about the results that I don't have because I didn't tell people to go buy my stuff. But my friends are talking about their stuff and they're selling it and they're making like lots of money and they're not worried about having to go back to get a different job. Like, yeah, y'all, it's tough. Anyways. So, we've talked about trusting your gut. We've talked about content minis, and which really just means launch ugly. That was the whole point in saying launch ugly. Sometimes you just gotta launch ugly. And, build your wings on the way down. And then I talked about this secret thing that I can't talk to you guys about just yet, I don't think, but I want to, and I'm going to. Yeah, so there's all that. Next week, by the way, I was going to do it today, just didn't have time to set it up. We're going to bring back the monthly revenue reports because we're late on that one because it was going to happen last week, but I had the interview, and then it was going to happen today, but I had a mental breakdown instead, and how inconvenient for the timing on that. So next week we'll go back to financials. Yeah. I'll try and not have a mental breakdown next week. We'll go back to money and financials. And you can see how abysmal. Maybe not because it's from a couple months ago, so it's not as bad as it is this month. So there's that. Anything that y'all want to chat about, let me know while I have some tea. And that's the tea on that. Oh, wow. I'm looking back at the playback window and it's a good like 30 seconds. Yeah, it's quite a ways in the past, okay? It's quite a ways in the past. But let me know where you're at. Are y'all having the same mental breakdown as me? I don't know. James DeLong, you're welcome. We'll be here for you. We'll be very open and honest with you about how it's just not going well and all the pieces are falling apart from time to time. If that makes you feel better about your life in some way, then you're welcome. Then you're welcome. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I forgot you guys are so far behind. Well, let me know if you have something else. Says, I had to pivot many times until something hit. Now I'm starting over again because I enjoy the whole startup phase, and I'm going back to roots of blogging, affiliate sales, and I'm going to try Amazon Lives. Ooh. Did I see your new direction? Did I miss it? Pixelpia. Let's see. Oh, I did. I thought you said I used to do tutorials. Okay. I will do tutorials on how Google Apps can solve everyday problems and questions for everyday people. Oh, I like that. I like it. I don't know exactly what that means. Sometimes it's like the flowery words when you have like, I help women live their best life. And I'm like, Susie, what does that mean? What does it mean? Okay, and just one last thing. It says that there's 9 people here and there's 8 thumbs up. So can you do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button so that I can at least have double-digit thumbs ups? Thank you so much. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate that. Not to make you feel bad, but, just saying. Oh, it went to 7. How did I go down? Someone took their thumbs up away. So rude. So rude. Oh, man. Anyways. Okay, now it says 10. Now it says 10. Wow. I was going to be so hurt there for a second. I was like, wow, y'all. Yikes. Yikes. All right, I have to just skedaddle. I was going to say jet and skedaddle at the same time because I have a dance class tonight that I'm heading out to. How to never lose a URL using Keep, for example. Oh, okay. Okay. I have 11 now. Yes. Thank you. Oh, that means somebody like liked it before they left. Oh, it might have been me. Wait, so me, I'm one of the thumbs up. So there's that. Appreciate you all. But I have a dance class that I'm going to tonight, and I'm super excited because this dance series is, so we practice usually on Monday nights, and this week was actually super duper special because we got to do it outside at Gasworks Park, which is like a beautiful venue anyway. But the Thursday series that we're doing is like preparations for even next year's auditions, where we learn a bunch of different dances. So it's been super fun seeing also not only people that I usually don't get to dance with because we have different teams each night, but it's also cool to then get to dance with people who are thinking about joining the organization next year. So that's always super duper fun. And yeah, so I'm going to go do that. And I hope that y'all have a great night. And I just want to say, if you enjoy the weekly mental breakdowns and the open, honest stuff, then every once in a while when you see stuff like that, you know, give it a like, a subscribe, a kind comment, because people like myself and myself, we're all out here struggling and bearing it all for people, and we're wondering, is anyone listening? Does anyone care? So if you see something that you like, not just on this channel, but just in the ecosphere, in the sphere that exists, leave a kind comment to someone, because they may just be having a shit day and it just may totally turn their day around. Okay, that's all I have to say on that subject. I appreciate all of you for being here. I'll see you all next week, and I hope you have a great night. All right, bye y'all.